So we're here visiting my good friend Tom Crutchfield. We're always here at the farm checking out the new animals, and he just finished this book. You want to tell us about it?
This is a new book on giant snakes. It's a reference book. It's everything you want to know about giant snakes and we're afraid to ask. It's really interesting. We have an extensive chapter on the Florida Burmese pythons and how they got here. And we have an entire section on captive giant snakes. The first book that's ever addressed this subject as a whole, and then with the Florida invasive pythons as well that are a result of the pet trade, in fact.
Yeah, so really awesome book covering a lot of great information. And since Tom is the expert on giant snakes, we're going to go visit one of his personal giant snakes.
This is such a beautiful animal. I've never been this close to a snake this large. It's pretty intimidating, but luckily I'm with two experts who I know will keep me safe. But she is just such a beautiful animal, and you can see how thick she is since she had a meal yesterday. This is a huge snake. I can only imagine how strong she is.
Can you imagine seeing this in the wild?
No. No, we think that the Burmese pythons that we have in Florida are big, but this thing, it just, wow. It makes the pythons look skinny.
So we're here with Tom Crutchfield. He's a giant snake expert, and we're hanging out with Bertha, his reticulated python. Just check out the size of that animal. I mean, I work with a lot of different wildlife and a lot of dangerous wildlife, but I can tell you these things make me nervous. They're just so unbelievably powerful. And an animal of that size, if it gets a hold of you, there's not a lot you can do about it if you were alone. Thankfully, we're here together. We would not be doing this alone.
No, we would not.
Yeah, but just a very, very powerful animal. So I catch a lot of Burmese pythons. I've even caught wild ball pythons. We have wild boas that show up, but reticulated pythons are not established in the wild in Florida to the best of anybody's knowledge. One or two may show up, such as this individual being caught because it's likely an escaped pet, something like that, but there's no known breeding population of reticulated pythons in Florida.
Okay, these pythons are one of the few snakes that get big enough that still, will predate on orangutans. There have been many cases of orangutans being killed and eaten by reticulated pythons, and human beings too, of course.
Yeah, I used to work with a 20-foot reticulated python at a certain facility, and one time it escaped and then went and tried to eat the orangutan that was next door housed. So they absolutely will. And I mean, it's just incredible. And of all the different species of reptiles and things like that a lot of people are afraid of, people are always afraid snakes want to attack them, snakes want to get them. 99.9% of snakes want nothing to do with people. They try to flee, they try to escape every chance that they can. The venomous snakes, rattlesnakes, cobras, all these things, they really want nothing to do with you, and they only bite as a last resort. But this is one of the few species of snake in the world that will actually seek out a human as a prey item, just because they are that large and that powerful.
Last time we measured this snake, she was over 18 feet long, and that's when she was curled up. It's really hard to get an accurate measurement when they're all curled up like this. They have over 250 vertebrae, so if she's stretched out, her length can actually be up to 15 to 20% longer than she is. If this snake grabs you, you'll be dead in less than a minute. There's nothing you can do about it, except if you get lucky, kill the snake. But this is the top apex predator. This is an incredible animal.
Tom has a lot of dangerous animals here at the reptile farm. He's got a king cobra, gaboon viper, all sorts of crazy things, but this is probably the scariest animal here.
For sure.
These snakes really don't eat that often once they become an adult. This snake voluntarily goes off feed every year around October the 15th, and she doesn't start eating until about the middle or late March. And this is her first meal of the year. And we will only feed her about 5 times the whole year until next October, and then she won't eat again. So they don't require a huge amount of food to sustain themselves daily like other animals, but when they eat very large amounts of food. And this snake can swallow something literally as big as like an adult buck deer here in Florida, white-tailed deer, pretty easy.
And for those of us who don't remember the high school biology, it's an ectothermic animal, does not produce its own body heat, therefore it does not have the metabolic needs of a mammal. So realistically, a snake this size or a large alligator or even a large tortoise, any of these large reptiles, since they don't have the same metabolic requirements, don't need to eat very often. And in a survival situation, a large reptile like this or alligator, etc., could go an entire year without eating. But that's survival. That's not fun. They don't want to do that, but they can survive.
Check these cuties out, guys. Tom and Stacy just got these two 3-week-old baby emus. This is Darwin and this is Sydney. Aren't they precious? They're so tiny. Now, even though they're really small now, within 5 to 6 months, they're going to be full grown. So they're going to be taller than I am, right? They're gonna
Pretty
be
much.
like 5 to 6 feet. But emus tend to be very sweet. I've worked with many different emus. They love people. If you like scratch their side, they'll actually lay down. They're dear to my heart. I love emus.
I love them. I think they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're one of my favorite animals, like by far. I know I'm like the gator, snake, shark guy, but I love these things. I've always been obsessed with them. I used to work at another park and we had an adult emu that I would spend hours hanging out with. They're just so cool. It's like a little living dinosaur. And I mean, they really are. It's like a little velociraptor. You check out the feet on these guys, just incredible feet. Just such dinosaur feet. Now, emus live in Australia, and they're often found in very arid habitats, but they're also able to survive cold very well as well. It's pretty surprising. And they eat just about anything they find on the ground. They're mainly herbivorous, and they'll feed on different kind of plants and things like that. Since an emu is a bird, they do have feathers, and they do have little bitty wings. Look at that wing. That's his little chicken wing. How cute is that? Just so awesome. They're just so adorable.
They are flightless birds, though. Birds this big typically don't.
Oh, you can't fly with that? I have had people, when I used to work with the adult, people would ask if they fly. It's like, yeah, no, he's doing laps with that, totally. Just flapping around the world. Glamorous life of being an animal person. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Gabby, how does it feel?
Really hot and disgusting.
Yeah, a nice steamy one?
Yep. We have a healthy baby. Right? You a healthy baby.